In my childhood, definitely, I hated Vietnamese food. Like very heavy meals was my way to go. I always wanted to have my sourdough bread, even pumpernickel, which a lot of obviously international, what the hell is this dry bread basically, but I love that one. I've been growing up in northwest Germany in a small town where it's like very not common to have so many Vietnamese people.
Like, I don't want to buy a new one. It's still functioning. It's still 35 years old, so why not? It's still functioning.
My parents basically came in the GDR in the 80s, 86, and they moved to Berlin, getting the free pass as a post-war kid. Arriving in Berlin, the first part for my parents was a shock because they signed the contract on the spot and they had to be here for 5 years minimum and were not allowed to go back to Vietnam and visit the family. When Germany was reunited in the 1990s, the entire factories removed all the contracts and everybody lost their job. 60,000 Vietnamese people have been coming and more like a third have been sending back to Vietnam because they had no guarantee to stay in the country. My parents had the chance to go to Vietnam and visit the families, and they were like, okay, let's get married right now. And then they got pregnant basically in the meanwhile. My parents are from the north, but I've been born in the middle of Vietnam. When I was 2 months old, I decided, okay, let's go back to Germany because life is better there. My father passed away when I was only 2. The connections basically from my mom and I were very strong because we have only us 2. For her, it's like spending time for her is, let's eat together. I remember when my friends came over, my mom was doing a glass noodle wok very nicely. My friend was German and she was very picky about food. I asked her in private, like, what's happening, you're not eating? She said, yeah, I don't like the food. And then I felt like, oh, okay, well, this is what my family served, but it's also my identity. Somehow at home I'm eating this. She's like, yeah, but in school you're having like your normal German one, so what's happening? So that's why I realized, okay, I'm carrying 2 cultures, which I cannot really show. So I was hiding it. I think it's also that's the reason why I appreciated German food more and wanted to have it more on the table than Vietnamese food on the daily basis. With the age of 15, 16, basically I gained a lot of weight. So my mom was like, well, maybe you should appreciate the Vietnamese heritages more because it's more balanced out. You have more herbs, you have more veggies inside. You can eat it without having any guilt feelings. And then I started to look over her shoulders and then I understood, okay, how is she doing it?
The cardamom, the black cardamom, basically, and the anise are shipped from my family.
Obviously, moving to Berlin, you can't avoid it. Every second restaurant is actually a Vietnamese restaurant, and also that kind of caused me more interest, and that's how I started to cook more Vietnamese than German.
This is longan and sweet wood.
Rêverie has been coming up when I joined a startup where I was interviewed and asked the question, okay, what would be the first team event you would host? And I was like, okay, I'm doing cooking a lot as a passionate cooker at home as a meditative part, but maybe I can bring some facts and history from Vietnam towards you as well to understand what the Vietnamese culture is and what's the fundamental part of Berlin itself per se. There's a multicultural effect which is drawing me into this city, and I don't want to move anyone else. My friends are all international, meaning I have friends who have been Romanians, for example, growing up in Italy, so having also diaspora in that certain way. Or I have friends who are Russian, growing up in Germany, same thing. So we are sharing the same similar thing, and I can open up fully and being non-judged by any other ones. It's kind of getting people very close because everybody understands each other. Rêverie means daydreaming. For me personally, I've been traveling a lot, dreaming about what next local food can I taste. That's how I connect usually with people, that I'm going to a bar or a restaurant, I'm enjoying the food, or going to the market and I'm connecting with the locals. And because French colonization has been happening in Vietnam, I chose specifically not a Vietnamese word, but how I learned Vietnamese throughout French as a language. And that's why I have been saying, oh, okay, Rêverie is the one who is me. And Rêverie is basically the place to be there in a community and feel more comfortable, and having two facts, right? Social part, being in a community and be part of it, but also the other fact of acknowledging and educating people about Vietnam itself and the history is another fact. The classes where I'm really enjoying it and I'm really loving to do is definitely the moment where everybody starts to chat with each other and connect. Usually it's individuals who are booking the classes, so there are strangers per se. Sometimes there are couples coming in, but nevertheless the community is strange to them.
It's not a cocktail.
And seeing how they connect on the table throughout shopping, or hey, how am I supposed to do this? Or how am I supposed to peel, or not listening to me and doing random stuff? I'm totally okay with it. I'm not perfect. I'm not my mom who's like, oh no, you need to chop this and dice this perfectly. I'm more looking over it because it's a space where we share the laughter and the joy, and you should go and leave the room with a nice memory instead of, oh, I'm carrying so much hate, especially with the gray days in Berlin where I'm already like a zombie mode on. It's more like, hey, having the warmth in the room and seeing that in the faces of people is making me happy and giving me the energy. I'm always hyped after the class because I know there are introverts, and I'm lifting up the introverts towards the extroverts so they don't feel like on the sides. But also for me, it gives me a lot of energy. Okay, appreciation of, hey, I'm very happy to learn the facts about the history you have been teaching us.
First bowl is done.
That's my happy moment when I'm leaving the room and laying in the bed for 2 hours and cannot fall asleep because I'm energized based on the class.